So there are two massive invisible walls that are standing between most people and the app they dream of building. The first one, you see it right away. It's the financial wall. You're looking at $20 a month for ChatGPT Plus or Claude, whatever the hot new model is.
Right.
And even when you pay, you hit these message limits. It feels like a tax on curiosity.
It does. You get cut off just when you're making progress. It totally kills the momentum.
Exactly. But then there's the second wall, the one nobody really warns you about until you crash right into it, the bug loop.
Oh, yeah?
That soul-crushing moment where the AI fixes one thing, but in doing so, it breaks 3 other things. You just spiral. You spend 6 hours just to get back to where you started.
It's that 1 step forward, 2 steps back dance. Honestly, it kills more projects than a lack of funding ever did.
What if those walls were optional? What if I told you there is a workflow available right now using a very specific stack of tools that costs $0 and it produces professional-grade software?
Okay, that sounds like clickbait.
I know it does. Yeah. And I don't mean a Hello World page. I mean a deployed, functioning app.
Well, it sounds like it, but the landscape really has shifted under our feet. We're not just talking about finding a cheaper chatbot. We are analyzing a guide that details a specific stack combining Google AI Studio with something called Google Antigravity. And it really does change the economics of creation.
And that is what we're doing today. We are deconstructing this guide. It's really about democratizing software development. We're going to break down this construction worker versus architect mental model. We'll look at the specific prompting strategies you need to stop that bug loop.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about agentic AI that can actually see what it's building.
And that last part, the agentic piece, that is the absolute game changer. It turns a single person into a full stack development team.
So let's get into the mechanics.
Uh-huh.
The guide starts with a philosophy. It calls it the split. It explicitly separates the workflow into 2 distinct tools, Google AI Studio and Google Antigravity. Right. My first question reading this was simple. Why? Why do I need 2 separate brains? Why can't I just use one tool for everything?
It really just comes down to resource management and specialization. Think of it like building a house, You don't hire an expensive interior designer to pour the concrete foundation.
That would be a very, very expensive foundation.
Exactly. So Google AI Studio, that is your construction worker, your tireless laborer. The guide makes a big point that Studio has an incredibly generous free tier. You can throw thousands of lines of code at it, iterate and generate volume without ever pulling out a credit card.
So this is where all the heavy lifting happens.
Correct. This is the brawn. You use Studio for the first, say, 80 to 90% of the project. It's laying the bricks, pouring the cement, building the walls.
Okay.
But it's not necessarily looking at the fine details or the user experience. It's just executing.
And that's where tool number 2 comes in, Google Antigravity.
Right. The guide describes Antigravity as the expert architect and quality inspector, and this tool is agentic.
Okay, let's pause on that word agentic. We hear it thrown around all the time in tech circles. For the person listening who just wants to build like a to-do list app, what does agentic actually mean here?
That's a great question. So a standard chatbot, the kind most people use, is passive. You type text, it gives you text back. It's just predicting words. And agentic AI can take action. It can run code. It can open a file. It can look at a screen. In this workflow, Antigravity has a much smaller free tier, so you can't waste it writing basic HTML. You save it for the complex problems because it can actually see the results of what it builds.
I like that analogy. So Studio's the brawn, Antigravity is the brain, but there's a gap. If I'm building the house in Studio and the architect is over in Antigravity, how do they talk? Am I just copy-pasting code files back and forth? Because that sounds like a nightmare.
Oh, that would be a total disaster. No, the guide introduces a third player, GitHub.
The video game save point.
That is the perfect way to look at it. GitHub acts as the bridge.
Yeah.
You build in Studio, and you push that code to GitHub. Essentially, you're saving your progress to the cloud.
Okay.
Then, when you're ready for the architect to take a look, Antigravity clones or copies that code from GitHub.
So GitHub is like the teleportation device between the construction site and the architect's office.
Yes,
Yeah.
But it's also your safety net. It tracks every single version of your code. If the AI hallucinates and, accidentally deletes your entire user database,
Which it happens.
which absolutely happens, you just reload the previous save. Without GitHub in the middle, you're walking a tightrope with no net.
So if Studio is the brawn and Antigravity is the brain, why do we really need GitHub in the middle? Why can't they just talk to each other?
It's the bridge. Studio pushes code there, and Antigravity clones it from there.
Okay, so we have the players. Studio, GitHub, Antigravity. Let's talk about the setup. The guide suggests a very specific toolkit layout. You just need 3 tabs open.
Simple is key here. Tab 1, Google AI Studio. Tab 2, GitHub. And Tab 3, a simple notepad.
The notepad is just for your own sanity, right? To keep track of ideas.
Right, to keep your feature list straight. But the real nuance is inside the AI Studio configuration. The guide is surprisingly specific. It says to select Gemini 3 Pro over Gemini 3 Flash.
Now, usually, Flash implies speed. And we're all conditioned to want the fastest thing. So why are we picking the slower model?
Because in coding, speed is often the enemy of quality. Flash models are optimized to give you an answer now, but Pro models have better reasoning capabilities. They have a higher compute budget per thought, essentially.
So the Pro model actually stops to think.
Precisely. When you're asking an AI to build a complex logic system for a secure login page, you don't want the fast food version. You want the chef who takes 20 minutes but cooks the meal right. The Pro model follows complex instructions much better. It's less likely to make those logical leaps that just break your app.
That makes sense. Slow is smooth, and smooth is fast. There's one other toggle mentioned in the setup, grounding with Google search.
This is critical. You have to remember, AI models have a training cutoff. They only know what they learned up until a certain date.
You're right. They don't know what happened last Tuesday.
Exactly. And software libraries update constantly. If you're using a coding library that released a new version last week, the AI won't know the new syntax. It will try to use the old method, and your code will break. By toggling grounding on, you let the AI quickly look up the current documentation.
So it prevents the hallucination where the AI just invents code that doesn't exist.
It stops the bug loop before it even starts.
Now, speaking of bug loops and disasters, the guide has this warning box, practically in red letters, the one-way rule. It says AI Studio can push code to GitHub, but it cannot pull it back.
This is the bear trap. This is where 90% of beginners fail.
And I can honestly say I still wrestle with prompt drift myself. You get confident, you see a typo, so you just quickly fix it yourself in GitHub, or maybe use another editor for a second.
Yeah.
And then suddenly, chaos.
Total chaos, because AI Studio has no idea you made that change. It's still operating on its memory of the code from 10 minutes ago.
Right.
So when you ask for the next feature, it writes code based on the old version, and it effectively overwrites your manual fix and breaks everything else.
It's prompt drift.
It is. Because AI Studio is a one-way street, you have to treat it as the single source of truth during that initial build phase. If you change something, you have to tell the AI you changed it. Or better yet, just don't touch the code outside of Studio at all until you're ready to leave it for good.
That one-way rule sounds risky.
Yeah.
How do we actually save our work to prevent disaster?
You click the GitHub icon, hit stage, and commit. That's your permanent snapshot.
Okay, let's shift to the actual interaction segment 3. Prompt engineering for builders. We've all heard prompt engineering is a dying skill, but this guide argues it's just changing. It says don't just say make a fitness app. You need to assign a persona.
Yeah.
Something like, you are an expert full-stack developer building with React and Tailwind CSS. Does that actually change the output?
It frames the probability. If you don't assign a persona, the AI gives you generic, average code. If you say expert developer, it tends to use better patterns, cleaner structures, but the persona is just the appetizer. The main course is the plan-first approach.
This part was interesting. The guide explicitly warns against letting the AI just start coding. It says you should ask the AI to explain the steps and list the files it's going to create first.
And this is key. You have to approve that plan before it writes a single line of code.
But why are we hitting the brakes? If the AI is so smart, shouldn't it just know what to do?
Not necessarily. AI is eager to please. If you say add a dark mode, it might decide the best way to do that is to rewrite your entire CSS file from scratch, deleting your custom fonts in the process.
Ouch.
By forcing it to plan, you can spot the logic errors. You can see, wait, why does the plan say delete user database? It is so much easier to fix a sentence in a plan than to recover a deleted database. It forces the AI to think through the dependencies.
There's also a specific clause the guide recommends adding to almost every prompt. Keep the existing UI and layout exactly the same. Only modify the logic.
That is the don't break the furniture clause.
Don't break the furniture. I like that.
AI has a tendency to get creative when you don't want it to. You ask it to fix a button, and it decides to redesign the entire navigation bar because it thought it looked better. Being explicit about what not to change is just as important as telling it what to change.
So we're slowing the AI down on purpose. What's the real benefit of making it plan first?
It catches logic errors before they become code bugs, saving hours of debugging.
Moving on to the administrative side of things. Segment 4 covers the handbook. This is all about the AI's memory. As the app grows, the context window, the amount of info the AI can hold in its head, it fills up. It starts forgetting things.
It's inevitable, and the solution is low-tech, but honestly brilliant. The guide suggests creating 2 simple text files inside your code folder, roadmap.md and devlog.md.
So roadmap.md is what's done and what's left, and devlog.md is a diary.
Basically, think of it like this. Imagine you hired a new developer, and on their first day, you just drop them into a project with zero context, no notes, no history.
They'd be useless.
They'd be useless. They'd overwrite things you fixed yesterday. They'd be the guy who deletes the database.
Right.
But if you hand them a handbook that says, here's what we built yesterday, here's why we made those decisions, and here's exactly what we're doing today, they can get to work immediately. When you start a new chat session with the AI, which you have to do often to clear its memory, you paste these files in first.
It restores the AI's memory of the project.
It aligns the AI with your vision. Without it, you're working with a partner who has severe short-term memory loss.
This feels like a lot of admin work, though. Is it really necessary for just a solo project?
Absolutely. Otherwise, the AI wanders in the dark and forgets what it built yesterday.
Okay, let's get to the part that really blew my mind. Segment 5, the magic of anti-gravity. We've done the heavy lifting in Studio. We've synced to GitHub. Now we switch.
Right. And you usually switch when you hit a wall. Maybe the code logic is getting too tangled, or you need to integrate a complex real-time database, or you need to see how it looks on a phone. You open Antigravity, you select Clone Repository, and boom, your project is just there.
But this isn't just another code editor. Describe the browser agent, because this sounds like sci-fi.
It feels like sci-fi. In Antigravity, you aren't just looking at lines of code. You can tell the system to open your app in a virtual browser. And the AI, it controls the browser.
What do you mean control?
I mean, it literally has a virtual mouse. It clicks buttons. It types into text fields. It scrolls. It can try to sign up with a fake email address to see if the whole registration flow works.
So it's not just scanning the code for syntax errors. It's looking at the app.
It's experiencing the software like a user would. A standard code editor can't tell you that a button is unclickable because an image is overlapping it. The code looks fine, but the app is broken. The browser agent sees that.
That is wild. And you can also ask it to do a code audit.
Yes. You can ask Antigravity to look for security vulnerabilities or huge images that are slowing down the site, or just redundant code. It's effectively like hiring a senior developer to come in and do a code review for free. It'll tell you, hey, this login isn't secure, or you have 3 files doing the same thing, let's combine them.
Wait, it's actually using a mouse? What does that imply for the future of testing?
It means AI isn't just writing text anymore. It's experiencing the software like a user.
It's incredible. But we have to ground this in reality before we get too carried away. Segment 6, common pitfalls. The guide is honest about where people screw this up. The first one is the mega prompt.
Oh, the temptation is so real. You sit down, you're excited, and you type, build me a Facebook clone with a marketplace, a dating feature, and live video streaming.
And then you hit enter and wait for the magic to happen.
And you will fail 100% of the time. The AI will try to do it all, get confused, hallucinate files, and just give you a broken mess. The golden rule is 1 feature at a time. Build the header, get it working, commit. Build the footer, get it working, commit.
It requires discipline. It's almost like the AI forces you to be a better project manager.
It forces you to be modular, yeah.
And then there's the manual check.
Yeah.
The guide warns that the AI can fake success.
This is a tricky one. The AI might run a test in its terminal and say, success, the feature is working. But when you actually open the app, the screen is blank. You cannot trust the AI's word alone. You have to open the preview and verify it with your own eyes.
Trust, but verify. And finally, let's talk scope. What can we actually build with this? Are we building the next Uber?
Probably not the next Uber, at least not in your first week. The guide sets realistic expectations. A to-do list, a journal app, a habit tracker, that's an afternoon project, a complex app with user logins and data storage. That's more like a week or 2.
And what about for mobile?
It suggests progressive web apps, or PWAs. This is a really smart shortcut. Instead of learning Swift for iPhone and Kotlin for Android, you build one website that can install, like, an app. It's perfect for these AI-generated projects because you don't have to deal with the App Store approval process.
So despite all this AI power, the human is still the pilot. What is the most dangerous habit to avoid?
Forgetting to commit code to GitHub, you lose your good version forever.
You have to treat that commit button like the save button in a difficult video game.
Yeah.
You just beat the boss. Save the game. You just fix the nav bar. Save the game.
Exactly. If you don't, you're playing on hardcore mode with permadeath.
That really brings it all together. Let's zoom out for the big idea here. We've discussed the workflow. Start an AI studio for volume and free code, sync through GitHub for storage and version control, and then polish an Antigravity for that agentic, real-world testing.
The synthesis here is really about the barrier to entry. For decades, the barrier was syntax. It was knowing where to put the semicolon. Then it was money hiring a team. Now those barriers have collapsed.
So what's the new barrier?
Clarity of thought. It's no longer about syntax or bank accounts. It is about, can you articulate your idea, if you can describe it clearly, and if you have the discipline to manage the documentation, that roadmap.md day, you can build it.
The workflow turns a single person into a full-stack team. You have the construction worker, the architect, and the QA tester, all for free.
The only variable left is you.
That's a powerful place to be. So here's our challenge to you, the listener. Don't just listen to this and nod along. Open those 3 tabs. Open Google AI Studio, open GitHub, open your notepad. Try to build something simple, a journal, a habit tracker, just to feel the power of that workflow.
Once you see the browser agent moving the mouse on code you didn't even write, it really changes how you see the internet.
You have a professional-grade development team at your fingertips. The only missing piece is your idea. Thanks for diving in with us.
See you in the next one.